Hello, and thanks for joining the session. Today we're going to continue working on building our multi-platform chat bot for Astrocasts. So far, we haven't really been following the schedule super well. Inside the bot, things are a little weird. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of React-based code, a lot of asynchronous code. That's not something I've done a lot in PHP. So it's been a little more difficult than I maybe had anticipated. Let's go ahead and pull up the code. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to pull up. Here we go. PHP Storm. So that was one of the things I remembered hearing when PHP Storm came out with this new look and feel for its icons. And the difference between Adobe Premiere's icon and PHP Storm's and Photoshop's icons. P Storm, let's just take a look. Photoshop. Now that's actually not all that similar, I guess. I don't know if that's changed recently, but Adobe Premiere, that one's more purpley, so yeah. So it was really easy for me to get the wrong thing there, big old P and purples. All right, so let's see if our editor's up and running. All right, so the things that we were able to do in the last session is get the bot more or less fully operational. It was actually connecting to Twitch, and then we were doing some things with handling the message to try and get the actual user ID for the Twitch username. So Twitch's chat is based on IRC, and so it doesn't actually have a user ID, it has a username. So we wanted to translate these back to an author ID. Currently within the Twitch driver itself, we're actually generating a session chat message, and we're using author ID. We're keeping the author display name, but I don't think we're going to keep that. We're setting the message text and then setting the current guest session. So we're using the stream manager in that particular case, but I think I want to do something different with this. So the end goal that we had in mind for this was to give our bot the ability to record a message. So that all of the drivers, Twitch, YouTube, and Discord, would all have the same interface, so that this part of the code that we aren't even going to be doing anymore is only going to be in one spot. So it's only going to be one thing that's responsible for sending these messages or recording these messages. So that's kind of where we're at. What we got into last time was using this browser. We had somebody from the Buzz project. Let's see, React Buzz. There we go. Somebody was available to give us a pointer on this to use something that wraps around React's HTTP client. It actually made the whole process a lot easier. But this was more or less the first big thing that we were doing on this project with promises. And I think I need to do more with them. So I'm going to take some time now to look at promises and see how we could sort of encapsulate some of this logic somewhere else. In the meantime, I'm going to double check to make sure I have the right tags on. Yep, I do. Awesome. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to pull up React's promise project. There we go. Let's get a general idea of what's going on here. So there are these concepts that are sort of related. There's deferred and promise. I want to see to use a deferred. I'm going to just read the docs here. So deferred represents a computation or unit of work that may not have completed. Promises then are representations of the computation itself. So when the way that I'm thinking about this is the promise is the value you get back. Well, I guess it even says that here, that it acts as a placeholder for its actual result. So I think what I'm going to need to do is create a deferred, and then the deferred will actually give us the promise. So let's see, there were some pretty simple examples that I looked at earlier that I think we could probably use. So how to use it? There we go. All right, so inside a function or whenever it is that we need to actually do some work, we create the deferred, we do something fancy. So whatever it is that's going to be asynchronous, we need to make sure and use the deferred, and then we use the return value of whatever this is to either set the errors by rejecting it with an error or resolving with the value. And then the return value that we pass back is actually going to be the promise. So I kind of want to get a feel for this because I think that this is too complicated. Right now, we're using the browser stuff kind of to drive the whole process. I would rather have something along the lines of a promise to go get that, and then we can move on after that's done. But I kind of want this to be sort of an implementation detail, if you will. So I think I'm going to see if I can do so we have message. What are all the pieces we need? Maybe I'll work on that first. So because this is going to make the whole process a little easier. So if we look at the model, right now we have the session chat message. This is an actual entity, so we're actually storing this. But what we want to do is send this over the wire, probably using Symfony's messenger component. So we need to get something lighter. We don't actually want to be sending the whole entity. So I think we're going to come up with a new class that's a DTO that represents what we need to store, or what we need to be able to forward to the thing that's actually going to be storing the messages. So this session chat message DTO. So let's go ahead and look at our code. Let's create a new directory called chat. And then in here, let's call this a message. All right, so we're going to probably open up our session chat message. There we go. We're going to want to keep probably most of this. So we want to do the type, author ID, message, session. Okay, so we're going to copy this for now. All right, we're going to remove the type hints. Well, not the type hints, but the annotations that bind this to tables and column names. So source type, we're still going to want that. So this is going to be either Twitch or Discord or whatever. Author ID is good. I don't think we want display name. Display name, because we're going to try and do that kind of probably on the front end. Author display avatar. Let's not get that now either. The message is important, and then the session ID. So these are the pieces that we need. All right, let's create a constructor. Actually, let's create some named constructors after we do some getters. Okay, so it's going to give us the information we need here. And then let's create public static function, and then we'll do create for Twitch. We'll do message and $author ID. Probably do timestamp, because we're always going to have that, and we'll have session ID. So the only thing that might be optional here would be the author ID. All right, and that's because we might need to create this after the fact. So let's do message. And then the other thing we'll need to do, oh, we need timestamp. Instance type equals, let's see if we have this in our here. No, we don't. Okay, so we'll just do Twitch for now. Let's see what we can do from here. We should be able to get most everything that we need. So let's do Twitch driver. We can already create the message here. So we could do message, actually no. What did we call it? Message. This is already called message. It's gonna be kind of weird. Let's call this chat message. Okay, I'm okay with that. All right, so now we can do chat message. We'll do message, chat message. Create for Twitch. So we can do the information we have outright. So we have set message, trans text. We need timestamp UTC. Session ID. So session ID is actually something we want to get somewhere else. So right now, we have the stream online and stream offline events. So this is actually something that is going to be a little different than what we had before. Let's remove stream manager. Let's see if we can get away with that. Yeah, because we're getting set the guest session. Instead, we want to know exactly the session. So this is actually going to clean up our driver quite a bit. Stream manager. Where else were we using that? Here we go. And actually, while we're at it, I think I'm going to comment all of this out. Which means we can also get rid of the object manager. So let's do that while we're here. And by the end, I'm hoping we can eventually get rid of this as well. All right, so we can get rid of object manager. So this is already cleaning up this class quite a bit. Okay, so we're not doing anything with object manager anymore. All right, so the next bit we need is session ID. So we need to be able to keep track of this information, essentially, the information we get when stream is online. So let's do this. Stream equals data. Let's just be really simple about this. Private current stream. So we'll set the current stream to the data when the stream comes online, and then this current stream equals null. So if the current stream value is null, then we know it's null. If we actually have a current stream, then we know that it has information. So rather than querying the stream manager, we can ask the object itself. And also what we can do is do some even smarter things here and say, if not this current stream break, I think I can just do that because we don't really need to do anything if we don't have a current stream. So chat messages that come in at other points won't actually show up here. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so far we've cleaned up a little bit of this stuff. We're actually doing some more interesting state-related things here. Let's see. So we now need to do this current stream. We can ask for information. So let's go check out where we were pushing that before. Push stream is online. Live session ID. There we go. So pass that value. And that's the only thing that we have. Or these are the only bits that we have right now. Why are these void method? Return instance. All right, so we have a chat message. So this chat message should eventually get sent back to the main application somehow. Current stream. So now this is the part that we need to do. So I think what I want is to say, let's say there's a function read translate login to ID. And let's just make this a function for now. All right, and the thing that we're going to be passed in is going to be the username. And the end result is that we want to get a value out. So let's go ahead and go in here. I think this is going to be the way this works. Deferred. Promise. There we go. So this isn't going to do anything if I call this function just yet. And this may actually end up being a method name or something along those lines. Actually, that's probably what it's going to be, but we're just kind of using this bit of code as sort of like a palette to play with stuff for now. So we're going to pass in a username. So the way that I would expect this to work would be message user, and then so result. So I can resolve with result. I want to see if I can do multiple response values. So we're going to move all of this code well, at least this much of the code into here. So the browser. And let's see, we don't need bot. We're not going to get message. We don't need username. So we don't need to do any of this stuff. So this is simplifying this bit of code quite a bit. All right, so on success, we're going to get this. Let's see here, how is that supposed to work? It's supposed to be another function call. So the second function call is going to be function, and this is where we can do deferred. Wait, we need to use deferred. Reject with exception. See if that's right. Yeah, so we can reject with an exception. And for this one, we can deferred, which we have to use. There we go. Deferred resolve with the value of author ID. So when we do chat message equals create for Twitch, we can do then this is where we could then do this. Well, chat message set author ID. There's a whole bunch of reds in here. ToString not implemented for promise. Don't know why that's giving me that error. ToString not implemented for a promise. I'm not trying to do anything with a promise there. Let's see what happens here. There we go. All right, I think this might just be PHP Storm getting upset. So let's go ahead and give it a try, I think. So the idea here then is that at this point, we should be able to have the author ID. So then that, and then we can send the message at this point. So I should be able to delete all of this code. And then I'm going to use this as the then. So we have a then. There we go. Then we'll see if this works as advertised. Let's fire it up. Authentication failed. And we kind of knew that was going to happen. So let's see here. Let's do Twitch get channel details. Nope, that didn't work. Try it again. Publish metadata. There we go. And then we need to do Heroku run. All right, so now we're logged in. Oh, it still failed. Interesting. Why is that? Oh, right. Not consuming our messages. Of course, that's going to be the reason. That caught me up yesterday as well. I'm going to push this. If I reload, there we go. Now I'm logged in okay. So I'm going to open up TC. Let's see what happens here. Interesting. Nothing. Reject, resolve. Is it stuck? No. Okay, so let's see. Oh. Let's go back up here. Say the current stream is not. I'm pretty sure that's what the problem is. Let's do bin console app stream push online. All right, so now we're live. So in theory, I should be able to just enter something in here. And it should already be working. It should give us something else, even if it's broken. There we go, something broke. Cool. Undefined function exception, attempt to call function then from namespace app.twitch. Huh. Yeah, so it's this bit of code. Let's translate Twitch login to ID equals function. Does it not? Why does that not work? Expression result unused. Oh, okay. So, of course, I don't know if I've been using too much JavaScript today or what, but there we go. All right, and this should actually fail because we don't have this method. So let's add it real quick. Let's just add a get setter for author ID. It would be nice if this could be an immutable object. I might see if I could figure out how to do that as well. All right, so let's see now. Bin console push online. Okay, cool. So this is actually generating what we'd expect. We see the chat message, we see the ID, we see the source type, we have our UTC date time and a session ID. Cool. So let's see now. We're getting this as we'd expect. I'm going to see how they format it. Yeah, they do it like this. Okay. Reason update. Let's do all. So something that I would like to be able to do, potentially. Returns a promise that will resolve only once all the items. Resolution value, the return promise will be an array containing the resolution values of each of the items and promise values. Interesting. So what I'm hoping for, all right, so if this is going to work like I think it does, which I hope it will, I think I can not do this here. So let's do React promise all. And then we need to pass in an array. So this is going to be all values. I'm just going to see what this looks like. All right, so the first value contains just the ID. All right, so then I can do function all. So the end goal here, I want to make sure that things, if I have several things going on that need to happen, I want them all to happen and then do something. So right now I only have to translate the Twitch login to ID, but I think I'm going to really quickly run into more things like this. So I want to make sure that the way that most things are going to be handled will be in one spot. So at this point now, I need to pass in use, let's see, what was it called? Chat message. Actually, it means that I don't have to do this anymore. So I'm not going to do this. I can use message and this was actually the part I wasn't sure about, because I wanted to make sure that I could do this. Like if there's any other pieces that I need at this point, I want to get them all at the same time so that I can create it in one spot. So let me go back here. Let's do author ID. So this is no longer going to be something that we can set. Set author ID. I'm going to remove the setter. This makes me a little happier. All right, so we have everything that we need here. So it took us a little while to get there, going through a few different iterations. All right, so we're still getting the same information. We're just doing it in a slightly more manageable way. So let's see if we can maybe break this out. So we have a browser, uses the loop. Set with base with options. All right, so anything that needs the browser is going to have to accept it from here, I guess. So I don't like the fact that this function is so massive. Let's configure driver. Sometimes happens when you do things that are using a lot of closures, a lot of inline functions like this. But I don't necessarily like it. All right, so IRC received. So in order to translate this into a method, we need to accept a browser and username for functions. But I think that will be fine. So let's see if we can do that. So we'll add private function. And let's say browser. Is there browser interface? No, just browser. All right. I'm going to actually import this. And reformat code. All right, so this we're getting from Twitch config, which is great. We're having the browser passed in. There we go. All right, so I think this should work. Which means we can now go replace this bit of code with a call to a method. This translate, and then pass in browser. Void method. This then, we need to return deferred promise. Must have lost that in the copy and paste. All right, so this bit of code is getting a little more legible. So if we don't have a stream break, if we aren't trying to talk to our channel that we're expecting break, otherwise, go get what we're essentially saying here is go get everything we need in order to create our message here. So function all. So I think this was a good exercise, and now that I have a better idea of how this is supposed to work, I think it's fine, but this might actually be even more clean to not do this all business. So this, then, and then we can do author ID. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so we have what we need here. We're getting all of the information. We're not handling errors super well. We would lose messages if for some reason this request failed. Not really sure I know how we'd handle that at this point, but I think this is going to be fine for now. So we did create a promise, which was kind of the goal of this session, was to make sure that we could do this in a way that sort of fits with the rest of the way that React is going to be working for us. So between promises and the event loop and all those sorts of things, it's going to be good to have a pretty good handle on this. So what we can do now is do something useful with this. So let's do, let's go back to the bot. And let's add a function to record chat message. There we go. We're going to have to bring in the bot then. Use bot record chat message. There we go. All right, so here's where we're going to need to use our command bus again, which we haven't used in a bit. Private bus. Actually, we'll see if this works. I don't know if it's going to work quite like I hoped. Command bus. All right, this is where we're gonna have to create another message. So we have a message of a message of a message, which is awesome. So we're gonna go down into our messages, and we have them currently broken into commands and events. Let's do command. We'll do session chat message. And then we'll do record chat message. So we're just going to use the simple object that we have here for chat message. We'll do a constructor and a getter. So we should be able to go back to the bot, it's command bus, dispatch, new record chat message for chat message. Which will offload everything now back to our main PHP worker. So we'll start doing stuff here. Let's see what happens. Push online. So we should actually get an exception. So here we're seeing that we're sending it. Sending the message here. On this side, it dies because we don't have anything that handles it yet. So an exception occurred while handling this message. No handler for message. So we need to create that handler right now. And that handler is going to be pretty straight ahead. Command session chat messages. we use handler suffix for that, so let's go. I think we just need invoke here. So invoke the message. I'll call it command. And actually, I think we need, we need the object manager. Get a constructor. And then transfer the information from our DTO, which is the chat message, to a new instance of session chat message. New. Oh, excuse me. So we'll set. Set session is going to be interesting. Let's start out with the easier stuff. Set source type, command get chat message, get source type. Command get chat message, get author ID. Message. Let's see, timestamp. This is the part that's a little weird because I need to actually get a stream. Take another pass at this. No, that's I have no idea what this is doing now. Wow. Okay. Did get a tip recently for how to do something fancy with constructors, but I don't know how to activate it. Do stream repository. No. There we go. All right, set session, session repository, find, command, get chat message, get session ID. Object manager, persist, session chat message. All right, let's see if this works as expected. So, but first, the last thing that should go on there is more noise. Still a problem. Set source type must be of type string, null given. Ooh, interesting. message. Huh. All right, so get source type. Create for Twitch. Wonder if this is something. I wonder if this is something with the serialization. So let's check which queue. Well, that should be there. Source type Twitch. Yeah. Why? Why? So we had other messages. Push stream is offline. Push stream is online. Most of these commands are empty. Var int implements command. Shouldn't matter. But let's see. So let's go back to here. So that alone shouldn't matter. Chat message. So it did decode chat message. Wonder if it's type hinting on chat message itself. String. Before you can send a message, you must first create it. There's no specific requirements, except it should be serializable and unserializable by the Symfony serializer instance. Well, well, it serializes just fine. Let's see here. I'm gonna try clearing it real quick because we've got a couple minutes left. Let's purge messages. Q purged. Maybe it has to be type hinted prior to being posted. So let's try that. Push online. All right, so even more noise. It didn't matter because we haven't done this yet. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to do some digging on this. I either need to figure out how to fix Symfony's serializer or figure out how I need to make things serializable, because this is not cool. Here's how to use it. It's encoding just fine, it's not decoding. Okay, well, I think we made decent progress. The experiment with handling the promise worked. We've got most everything put in its own place now. This actually seems to look reasonable. It's still a little messy having everything in here, but at least it looks pretty clean, I think. So I'm pretty excited about that. We did get to the point where we're sending the messages. It looks like it's actually encoding correctly. If we look inside the queue, let's look one more time. It is actually storing it, but it doesn't look like it knows how to decode this. So my guess is this chat message here. I'm guessing the serializer doesn't know how to decode classes, or classes that have classes as their properties. Create for Twitch. You know, let's go back to our bot. All right, so I'm gonna do something real quick to see if this can work. We're gonna switch this to look exactly like chat message. So we're gonna copy and paste the contents. New static. I'm gonna set all the values the same way. The difference is rather than create for Twitch, we're going to do create from chat message. Chat message, get author ID. This is kind of nice because it does actually make sense to do this. Rather than passing around the chat message DTO, we're actually creating a proper message from it. Chat message, timestamp UTC, and chat message, get session ID. bot. Oh, there we go. We're going to remove create from the name. There we go. So record session chat message from chat message. I'm going to purge the queue. It's gone. Let's go ahead and restart the consumer. Republish. Oh, actually, let's do this. Let's republish. All right. All right, so now we've got a record session chat message with less information. If we go to bash, source type, command, session chat message. Let's check the queue. All right, so record session chat message. I wonder if it needs a constructor. That may have been all we needed, which would be awful and awesome at the same time, because it still doesn't look like it's hydrating this correctly. Now it is. Wow. Well, either way, this makes sense because we don't. I think this is fine. Okay, so let's finish this. Record. We need the handler. So rather than that, we want to actually store it. This makes this easier. We can replace with nothing. Aha. Null value and author display name. Okay, so it looks like we need to do a little bit of work. We actually need to get our table looking like it needs to. We need to drop the things that we aren't going to be using anymore, including author display name, author, I guess the avatar URL, which I think maybe was nullable, but we should get rid of it because we're not using it anymore. So we made decent progress. I'm pretty happy with this. So thanks for joining the session, and we'll be back again tomorrow.